Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to the Tracie Trendy Show. Today, as you can see in the thumbnails, we are going to discuss the secret lives of Lacey and John. You know, there's a lot to their story, and I think it needs to be retold to us, okay? Because John and Lacey, they know their story, but we get bits and pieces of theirs. So, let's start off with Lacey, okay? She seems to be the center point of this story. Basically, her and John, they live back door to each other. You know, houses back to back. My mom and dad, they lived the same way, and they eventually got married. But John and Lacey didn't interact with each other, not until many years later. But while Lacey was growing up, you know, her mom supposedly, allegedly had some problems with alcohol. And her dad was often away at sea. So I'm assuming he may be in the Navy or something. Lacey's dad, John, her dad's name is John too, was in the Navy or something like that. So he wasn't around much. So Lacey was just primarily with her mom. Now, according to John, he did reveal that while Lacey was in her mom's care, you know, that she was molested. That's what it was said. And I read it, okay? But I'm just going to say allegedly what John said, that she was molested while she was in her mom's care. Lacey herself has said that she, you know, dibble and dabble in, you know, substances while she was growing up. And I guess, you know, trying to cope with what she dealt with. Anyway, fast forward, we're now into, you know, adult age, maybe 18, a little bit in high school. So let's just say the latter years of high school. That's when, you know, Lacey started noticing John, but they were always dating other people. John was the party guy and always fun to be around with. And he was doing drugs. He was doing cocaine, and even in high school, that was some heavy stuff. But pretty much lightweight for him. He wasn't on heroin at that point. So, anyhow, they were both dating other people. Lacey and John were both dating other people. But at one point, they swapped partners, okay? They swapped partners. So, Lacey dumped her boyfriend, who went to John's girlfriend, and John dumped his girlfriend and went to Lacey, even though they were all friends, okay, at one point. So anyway, anyhow, Lacey and John have always been off and on because he really couldn't stay clean, but that was fine. All that partying stuff was fine until Lacey got pregnant. Not by John, though. Not by John. She got pregnant right after high school, or maybe when she was in high school and finished, because she has an older child. It's a teenager. I'm going to say he's about 13, maybe 14 now. So she had him immediately after high school, or maybe she was pregnant during her senior year. So, yeah, so Lacey wanted to, you know, take life more seriously, but she still hung out with John. But he was not the father of her first child. He is not the father. There was other guys. So, because John and Lacey were always off and on. Eventually, Lacey, I guess as she started having kids, she wanted something more serious. And at that point, John was getting into heavier drugs, such as heroin. So anyway, Lacey continued to have more children by guys who were pretty much doing what John was doing, unfortunately. And one guy, she reveals one of her father, his last name is Wesley. She says she has no connection to him whatsoever. You guys write him if you want, but she's done and over with him. But I believe Wesley may be her daughter's dad, But what was interesting, while John and Lacey were off and on, and while John was in jail or prison, Lacey was his ride or die chick. You know, she was popping out these babies for the guys. She was his ride or die chick. Even paying for his legal fees. all these lawyers, because every time he would get in trouble, you know, she was his ride or die. That's very birdish behavior, and I guess that's why she had to go to webcamming, because she had to, you know, make a lot of money to pay for all these lawyers, because John was in and out of trouble. So when Lacey did approach John for Love After Lockup, you know, he thought about it. She asked him, hey, you want to do the show? Because at this point, John and Lacey are engaged to be married. And she asked him, do you want to do the show? And he said, he thought about it, and he says, okay, if I do it, you can take the money, you know, his share of the money. Because all that stuff you put on my books, all that bird behavior you did, I'm going to reward you for that bird behavior. So he didn't, while John was filming, all the time while John was filming Love After Lockup, he wasn't getting paid. Lacey was getting paid, okay? His share and her share. And as you know, I guess it's rightfully, it should be compensated back to her, because she spent quite a chunk of change on him. So he wasn't getting paid. And so anyway, while she was auditioning for Love After Lockup, they asked her if she's seen someone else, you know, because she told the producers of Love After Lockup when she applied for it that she was engaged to John. And they asked her, is there anybody else in your life? And she had mentioned Shane. And then they were like, whoa, well, tell us more. And then she had mentioned that he was in prison, soon to be released. And then they, you know, got an idea popped up in their head. So, so basically they said, okay, he's soon to be released. Let's go down there and meet him. And Lacey, he was 8 hours away. Lacey had really no intention of seeing Shane. She was already engaged to John. She had no intention of seeing Shane. He was 8 hours away. It was just like something to do. You know, it was harmless flirting online, but she wasn't serious. And they said, well, let's go down there. So they drove 8 hours down to where Shane was. Lacey was like shocked. She did not think that, you know, she says, well, are you going to bring him, or do I have to go up there? And he says, yes, you have to go up there to meet him. And she wasn't expecting all of that. But anyway, she, you know, she's on the show now, so she's doing what they asked her to do. So she goes up there to meet Shane, and she says it was love at first sight. And then she knew she was in trouble when she saw Shane. She said, I'm in trouble because this guy is hot, and la-di-da. So, basically, then, you know, that threw a whole wrench in the whole thing, and she started falling for Shane, and we kind of know the story after that point. But that is pretty much the gist of it. So they got married. So a lot of people want to know, like, did Lacey call the cops on John? You know, when they were going, you know, when she got mad at Shane and started hanging out with John, did she called the cops? And according to Lacey, she did not call the cops on on John. She did not call the cops on John. What happened was they were at a strip club, you know, having fun, and then John said he wanted to get high. He wanted to get a hit. And she's like, no. And I think he was drinking. And she's like, I'm not even getting in the car with you. So she just called herself an Uber and went home. He went out drunk, got some more, I guess, heroin or something. Then he came around to her house after he got high and everything else. And she said her neighborhood is pretty much, you know, got the speed dial for the cops. And so he's all around there calling out for Lacey and stuff. The next thing he knows, the cops are there and he's intoxicated and maybe high. Maybe. Anyway, he gets arrested. But according to Lacey, she was not the one to call the cops. She said it was most likely the neighbors, even though it was in her neighborhood. And I understand certain neighborhoods, you know, you can't be acting a fool. So, yeah, so I think that was that. But John seems to think it was some other guy that called the cops on him. But he really has no recollection of the night at all. And I heard Lacey's version, and it seems as if Lacey's version is more accurate. And he came over there acting a fool. The neighbors called the cops. And so therefore he went to jail. So anyway, my lovelies, that is pretty much the scoop, okay? I already told you guys in my other video that Lacey had a secret child, okay? Yes, that was in the shocking secrets of Lacey. And now I'm telling you, Lacey didn't call the cops on John. No, she didn't. Well, that's my determination. And I revealed one of the baby daddies. Oh, maybe I will give you a count of how many baby daddies. I think she has 3 baby daddies, okay? There's Wesley, there's Shane, and there's some other guy she did not identify, okay? So anyway, that's 3 baby daddies. And she has 5 children. And I think that is pretty much a wrap. But I don't think that's going to be a total wrap, because I do believe we will be seeing Lacey back on Love After Lockup. Yes, I do believe. I've got my suspicions, and I think my suspicions are correct. But I will build my evidence first. I'll build my evidence. All right, my lovelies. If you enjoyed this tea, all right, and you always want to be the first in line to hear it, you will have to subscribe, my lovelies. I can't find where you are. You have to find the Tracie Trendy Show. Subscribe, hit the notification bell if you are already subscribed, so you can always get the tea. Anyway, drop me a line, lovelies. What do you guys think about this? What do you think Lacey called the cops? Do you think some friend of John called the cops? That's what he's saying. John has no recollection, so okay. But anyway, if you enjoyed what you hear, my lovelies, hey, hook a sister up. All right, my lovelies. All right. See you next time, alligators.